I just got done watching a guy that, at the end of his video, he said, we're either going to take over Cuba or Iran. And it's coming. It's coming up next. It's coming up soon. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on with Cuba? So I must be out of the loop right now. I told y'all I don't catch everything. I cover so many things that I don't catch everything. I don't catch everything that's going on with movies or TV shows or gaming and even world news. I miss some stuff. I don't even know what the hell's going on. Well, let's find out. It says they are preparing for war with us. And Trump, I hear, has dropped everything and is up in the White House. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't doing nothing. He's preparing for something. That's what I'm hearing.
Meantime, the communist regime in Cuba says it is preparing for war following this week's indictment by the U.S. of Raul Castro. Cuba's deputy foreign minister is calling it a, quote, political action designed to lay the groundwork for an American invasion. And the Cuban government is reportedly handing out pamphlets to citizens titled Family Guide for Protection Against Military Aggression.
Good
the
Lord.
text warns that the U.S. is threatening a military assault to, quote, annihilate the dream of Fidel Castro. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Cuba has consistently posed a threat to the United States.
Cuba not only has weapons that they've acquired from Russia and China over the years, but they also host Russian and Chinese intelligence presence in their country, not far from where we're standing right now. So Cuba's always posed a national security threat to the United States. They, by the way, have been one of the leading sponsors of terrorism in the entire region. We're not going to do humanitarian aid.
I know that. Never heard that.
In the hands of their military company that they have, and then they take that stuff and they sell it at the dollar stores and put the money in their pocket. That's not going to work that way.
Meantime, ICE agents in Miami say they detained the sister of a top Cuban military official who oversees a multi-billion-dollar military conglomerate running most of Cuba's economy. Let's bring in now Rick De La Torre, former CIA chief of station.
Yeah, give me some
Caracas,
details, because I don't...
And Mike Gonzalez, senior fellow at the Heritage Institute. Gonzalez moved, by the way, to the United States from Cuba when he was 12. Gentlemen, great to have you here. And let me start with you, Rick. It seems inevitable, given the statements by President Trump and others in the administration, that change is coming. How quickly do you expect that to happen?
Oh, I expect it to be relatively soon. I mean, look, what we're seeing is this is the most aggressive U.S. posture towards Cuba in years. The indictment of Raul Castro over the Brothers of the Rescue murders is not just symbolic. It is Washington signaling that time no longer guarantees immunity for regime elites. But the bigger shift is strategic. Cuba is no longer being treated as a Cold War relic or just some sort of migration issue off our coast. The administration is framing Havana as part of a hostile network tied to China, Russia, Iran, intelligence operations, and even most recently, the potential military drone activity off the U.S. So the timing matters, and I think it's going to be a lot sooner than later.
And Mike, is that the framing of Cuba as a threat, is that fair? I think there's a lot of people who might look at it and think it's a broken island off the coast of Florida. Do we really need to be putting this much effort into it? But is it a real threat, Mike?
Yeah, no, it is. And it's a myth that the Cuban regime has lived off of for many years now. Cuba is a very large aircraft carrier, 90 miles from our border. It's got a signals intelligence base that it offers the Chinese in a town outside Havana called Bejucal. It collects electronic intelligence, everything from emails, texts, telephone calls. That includes Cape Canaveral. That includes many important bases in the United States. Cuba also is behind a lot of the mayhem on our streets. Don't forget that the People's Forum, Code Pink, the Tricontinental Institute, these are all institutions that are whose leaders are trained in Cuba. So every time you see anything from protests against ICE or Gaza or Iran, these are all pretexts. And these are all organizations that are doing Cuba's bidding.
So, Rick, do you believe...
I hate that my computer does this. I gotta find a setting to stop that. I have these pop-ups from my antivirus that
believe that if and when it comes to any decisive action by the US to oust the current regime in Cuba, it will be
asking me
welcomed
dumb
by
shit.
the people of
Hey,
Cuba.
you want to try this out? No!
I have no doubt about that. I think the people of Cuba have been suffering for too many decades now and have recognized that outside of the island, it's a very different world. I think the strategy here for the administration, though, is pretty straightforward, right? It's not one of invasion, but really sustained pressure, legal pressure, financial pressure, intelligence pressure. The goal is to increase the cost of the regime's survival while sending a message that adversarial powers operating in the Western hemisphere will face consequences. And I think that's something that the Cuban people could certainly get behind.
Mike, give us some news from the future. Does this all happen as a result of U.S. military action or simply the internal collapse of the regime?
I don't think it's going to require military action. I think the regime relies on henchmen and goons who will put people in prison, who will beat up people who demonstrate. Once they realize that the United States finally is serious about getting rid of this enemy who hates the American way of life, the people surrounding keeping the regime alive are going to, what's in it for me? That's what they're going to say to themselves. And then we have seen protests. We've seen protests now almost every night. If nobody is there to harass them and put
so it was
in prison,
indicting
arrest
him
them,
that caused
the regime
this.
collapses. It's not going to require any. Not going to require any U.S. military action.
Yeah. All right, Rick De La Torre and Mike Gonzalez, thank you both very much, gentlemen. Great to see you this Saturday morning.
Yeah, I haven't been following none of this stuff. No new wars. Trump didn't start no new wars when he was in. I already told y'all, I don't trust either side. I think I get new people all the time, so I don't trust either side. I think that no matter who is in power at this point, left or right, we would be in some form of some conflict, some form or fashion. You know what I'm saying? We would be in a conflict in some form or fashion, and we would be having economy problems. I truly believe that. I just think that it might have happened a different way. Okay, so don't come over here with that rah-rah stuff about team left and team right, because I don't trust either one. Oh Lord, right around Memorial Day, isn't that fitting? See you on the next video.